This is the Principality of Andorra, a small country in Western Europe that just so happens to be ruled by the President of France, who is Prince of Andorra. To be specific, the French President co-rules the nation with a local bishop. Which is odd, to put it mildly, and even more strange is that this co-rule agreement has lasted almost 800 years. So how did the President of France come to be Prince of Andorra? Well, like most things in European history, it's complicated. So to understand why Emmanuel Macron is the current Prince of Andorra, we need to dive into a bit of Andorran history. In 988, the Bishop of Vergel obtained control of the area by trading the Count of Vergel some land. While the Count was nice enough to trade, the Bishop of Vergel knew the Count would try to reclaim his territory, and, being the leader of a church, he knew he wouldn't have the military strength to defend his territory, so he needed outside assistance. So in 1095, he asked the nearby Lord of Cabway for protection. In exchange, Lord Cabway and the bishop would co-rule Andorra. Lord Cabway's daughter had a daughter who married Roger Bernard II, Count of Foix. While the Counts of Foix and the bishops of Vergel had an uneasy relationship, the agreement held. Over the next several hundred years, through political intrigue, marriage, and combat, the Counts of Foix became kings of Navarra. Then, in 1589, Henry I of Navarra, who was the current Count of Foix, became Henry IV, King of France. In 1607, he decided to tie the co-rulership of Andorra not to the County of Foix, but to the kingdom itself. So while the agreement has been in place for 800 years, the current iteration of the French monarchs has only existed for over 400 years. The first major trouble then occurred during the French Revolution. Without a king, would Andorra still be led by France? Well, the question remained unanswered until Napoleon took power. Famous for his hatred of expanding France and his own personal power, he decided to simply rename the previous agreement. They would no longer be co-princes, but co-principates. But when Napoleon was defeated, things went back to the way they were before. Yet later in the mid-1800s, after pressure from the Andorran population, the co-princes rewrote the constitution to be more liberal, and Andorra even got a new flag. Hooray! After the precedent set by Napoleon, once France became democratic, the presidents of France would be princes of Andorra. There was a bit of trouble in 1933 when France occupied the country, and during World War II, in which Andorra tried to be neutral, which they managed to do well enough not to get occupied. Interestingly enough, it took until 1996 for Andorra to finally recognize the United States. We'll enjoy having that wealth of unimportant information about a relatively unimportant but fascinating country.